Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health Radio on W4HC Radio, where you can learn to accelerate your body, mind, and spirit to reclaim the true potential that exists within you through cutting-edge wellness, tools, and modalities. Here's your host, Sarah Banta.
Welcome to Accelerated Health Radio. I'm your host, Sarah Banta, and because of my journey with my own health issues and my son overcoming leukemia at the age of 9, I felt that I was being called to help empower individuals and families to take a hold of their own health and help you reach your ultimate optimal and physical, mental, and emotional state of being. I truly believe that detoxification of the body is the primary step in allowing the body to rebuild and heal itself. And your body does want to and is capable of healing itself. So I am here for you to answer your questions and bring you innovative and cutting-edge technology and health solutions to empower you and your ability to reach your optimal state of health. And today I am thrilled to have Kelly Rompel on the show to help me do all of that. Kelly is a mindset empowerment coach, pharmacist, and best-selling author specializing in natural anxiety relief. She's the author of Don't Tell Me to Relax, which I love the title of, host of the Rebel Whitecoat Podcast, and creator of her program, Limitless. Kelly combines her pharmacy knowledge with her love for natural medicine and helps ambitious women lower anxiety, manage stress, and recover from burnout without lowering their standards for business or personal life. And my goodness, could I use you this week? It's been one of those weeks, but welcome, Kelly. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm great. Great to be on.
I'm so glad to be, I was on your podcast, which we had a lot of fun, and now it's your turn, and I'm so excited to have you here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an honor.
Why don't you take us back to where you started on your journey and what led you to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. So my journey probably started around my last year of pharmacy school. I was gung-ho about pharmacy and medications, but I was super sick. I had terrible heartburn so bad and irritable bowel syndrome. I was sick all the time with all your common colds, coughs, bronchitis, laryngitis. I was just always sick, and I had terrible anxiety. So I found myself on a lot of different medications for my gut health, my mood, everything. And after I graduated, I found myself behind the pharmacy counter waiting on people that were just like me. And I saw these people get caught up in a vicious cycle of more meds on top of more meds and top of more side effects from those meds. And then their doses were going up every month, and they'd come in for a refill with more meds. And I just got honestly really frustrated because I felt like I was going down that road, and I was watching my patients go down that road, and I really felt like there had to be something done about it. So I decided I was going to start researching what actually was going on with me. And I found a correlation between why I was sick all the time and my gut health and also my anxiety. And it all kind of related to one another. And so I started doing a lot of research. I discovered natural ways to help myself and eventually got off all of my medication. And now I help people do the same. I'm out here trying. I respect both sides. I see healthcare and I see how it has its place. But I have a love for natural medicine and preventative healthcare now, because I know I would rather help you and myself prevent disease versus help you treat it. I mean, I love to get ahead of it and help people kind of avoid unnecessary meds and unnecessary toxins.
Well, so let's take a step back. Did you have anxiety as a kid, or when did you see that develop? Mm-hmm. And was it in response to the medication, or looking back, it's your vision's 2020, but how would you describe the chain reaction?
Yeah, no, so I definitely had anxiety as a kid. I didn't know I had anxiety though. Honestly, I have more of like a high functioning anxiety, I'll call it, where I didn't have panic attacks. I didn't find myself in a panic and where I would just stop and be stuck. That wasn't how my anxiety manifested. I was high functioning. So I was doing probably more than I should have been doing. I was pushing too hard. At a young age, I was a competitive dancer. So I learned from a very young age that in order to win competitions, I had to practice, and do well and do good in school because you had to get all the good grades and you didn't want to disappoint anybody. And so I was an anxious kid who was a really hard trier, for lack of better terms. And I found myself in pharmacy school then too, because, I had to go get that doctorate degree and be somebody. And so I was very anxious in pharmacy school as well. So it wasn't a side effect of any medications at all. Actually, I found myself in a situation where I became so anxious over everything. I was just irritable and on edge. And I finally found myself in the doctor's office crying to her that I just felt like at my wit's end. I'm like, I'm just so upset all the time. Everything is upsetting. And she said, you know what? I think you've got so much anxiety, you're depressed. And so, of course, she puts me on an antidepressant, which I get, I understand, I see. I mean, I walk in there, I wanted a solution. She handed me a prescription. I was happy about it. And so I started taking the medication. I felt terrible on it. I felt like a zombie. And it wasn't long until I realized medication wasn't for me. My body is one of those that's just, I'm sensitive to everything I take and I just don't react well. And I had side effects. So that's one of the reasons I'm like, I got to get off this stuff and find a better way.
And were those prescription drugs part of the gut issues you had, or did they start before? I mean, where was the...
So I think the gut health issues was a combination of, college life was, I had a really awesome diet of ramen noodles and like rum and cokes and mac and cheese and a lot of stress. I was up all hours of the night studying. And I think the gut health issue was, inflammation from my diet and my lifestyle, and my inflamed gut then also led to more anxiety because those are completely correlated and related. Now I know that, I honestly didn't even learn that in pharmacy school. I discovered that with my own research when I was trying to help myself, how connected gut health is to our mood.
Yeah, it's amazing. When I look back in college, out of 5 roommates, I was the only one that was not pre-med. And 2 of my roommates lived off of 64 ounces of Diet Coke a day. Mm-hmm. And here they are in pre-med, and it's just amazing that there's not that, they don't address the nutritional element of how important nutrition is to your mental and physical health. So now taking a step back where you are today, so you still see both sides, but what is your approach for anxiety and depression?
Yeah, so I like to start with the root cause. And anxiety and depression, I really believe, is not just one thing ever. I think it's chemical, it's physical, it's situational, it's spiritual, it's emotional. So you're never just going to say it's this one thing causing my anxiety, depression. So I think that awareness is really key of getting to a root cause and taking things kind of step by step. But when I do work with people and when I had to figure out my own situation, where I started is in the gut. The gut health is everything, because if your gut health is not great, you have an inflamed body that's not absorbing nutrition. And if you're not absorbing vitamins and nutrients like you should be, your body cannot create happy mood chemicals. It's not possible. So not only that, if you're not absorbing nutrition the way you should be, your body's immune system is not as strong as it should be. And so these things all kind of come off the gut. So when I do talk to people about their mood, yes, situational and emotional things all play a role. We're stressed out. We live in a very fast-paced lifestyle nowadays, and people are pushing too hard, and including myself. I have to sometimes slow myself down. And when I'm feeling, anxious or down, I'm like, I have to stop and ask myself, like, what's going on with me right now? And am I taking care of my gut? Has my diet been terrible lately? I need to probably cut down on anything that's processed, cut out as much dairy as I can, not drink alcohol for a while, let my gut kind of heal. And then from there, the gut is just the most important part. But then I also have to look at other things and say, am I taking on too much? Have I had terrible boundaries lately? Am I saying yes to too many things? And am I letting negative people into my life? You have to kind of take a step back and see anxiety and depression for what it really is, which is your body telling you something. It's your body saying, hey, look at me, pay attention to me. I need you to fix some things. I don't think it's really, this is my opinion, but I don't think it's something that you have. Like, I said earlier, I have high functioning anxiety, but it's like, I just think that's a symptom of what's actually going on.
I agree. It's interesting when I look back at when I was truly in my darkest moment and feeling at my rock bottom. I had family members say, oh, you need to be on Prozac. You need an anti-depressant. And I thought, I am not a depressed person. Right. I don't feel good. I'm bloated. I have IBS. I'm on the verge of Crohn's disease. I have all of these issues. And at the time, I didn't understand the connection between gut and depression or anxiety. Wow. But when I went to the natural practitioner that has eventually healed me or helped me get on the right path, he said, Sarah, we're not touching your mental or spiritual state until we fix your physical foundation. Because if you don't start healing your gut, if you don't start absorbing your nutrients and getting all of your nutrients and your electrolytes and your vitamins and amino acids in proper order, you're not going to have the fuel and the tools to correct the anxiety or the mental state and the brain fog and all of these other issues. Mm-hmm. And that is the approach that I've taken with all of my clients is let's physically get your immune system back, heal your gut, and then start working on the anxiety, the depression, the mental state, and then the spiritual state. And it's like a pyramid. As you heal the gut, then your body's able to make those happy hormones, the GABA, the dopamine, the serotonin. It's not in the brain, they're made in the gut, and then your brain's able to function well. And then as you start feeding your brain, the brain fog lifts, your spiritual wellness, your higher self come into more clarity, and things start building on themselves. And then you also have that motivation to keep going and to be healthier and feel healthier. And okay, now I'm going to get rid of these toxic people in my life. I'm going to say no more. I'm going to have my boundaries. I'm reducing my stress. I'm going to start eating better. And it's just this great cascade of positive actions versus digging yourself deeper into a hole.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. When you feel better, you're going to do better. When you know better, you do better, right? And so, yes, I agree 100%. Take care of that gut first and watch everything else kind of fall into place.
So take us through your program, Limitless. What does that entail?
So I start with, first of all, Limitless to me just means like you're going to thrive if you don't have limits on you as far as like your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health, all that stuff. So unpacking that, taking the limits off of you so you can thrive. So I start with the gut health, just like we talked about. I start with the physical body and reducing inflammation in order to boost mood and immune system and just really helping to heal your physical body first. And then we kind of take it into the emotional side of things, looking at what's going on in your world and how you actually feel. Because so often people don't want to they don't want to kind of unpack how they actually feel. I can't tell you how many people have told me, like, I know I need to journal, but I'm scared to because I don't want to hear my own thoughts. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's really important for you to take a real look at how you actually feel. And that means also, too, looking into how you feel spiritually. And it's not whether you're religious or not, or, you know, it has nothing to do with religion. It's just, do you have faith in a higher power of some sort? Mm-hmm. And are you able to kind of surrender and give up a little bit to that higher power and not carry this entire load of life on yourself? And so I do think that spiritual health is a really big part of it as well. And also situational, what's going on in your current life right now that you need to maybe let go of. You need to improve what's going on with your relationships, what boundaries need to be put into place, and really my program takes a holistic view of your health, and starting with, like we said, your gut, the physical part of you, in order to kind of give my clients a quick win. When they start to feel better, they're able to have more energy to kind of tackle the next steps that are actually the hard part. I don't think that taking care of your physical body is as hard as we make it. I think it can be very simple if we get into some simple habits and just take little steps, you know, one thing at a time. I think kind of tackling the emotional side of things, the situational side of things, those are the hard parts. I think really dealing with how we actually feel, because so many of us don't want to feel. We want to numb out and forget and not have to deal with our emotions because maybe we're scared, maybe we just don't want to unpack it all. And so I think it's important to kind of take a step and have some awareness around every single part that's contributing to putting limits on you.
So when you have clients come to you, how many of them are already on prescription medication for anxiety or depression? And do you try to get them off, or are you just working in conjunction with their medication? Yeah.
So a lot of people who do come to me are coming to me with the goal of wanting to reduce medication load. I have had a handful of clients, though, that come to me and they say, I am on an antidepressant and I do not want off. And that's that, because I see that more often with like PTSD. It's like a fear of not having that medication and old things kind of creeping back in. And hey, I get it. I'm not here to judge. I am not here to get anybody off meds if that's not their goal. But the majority of people that come to me are tired of being on meds. They don't like the way they feel. They have side effects. They have to constantly go to the doctor and ask for more scripts. They're constantly getting their dose increased. And so they're tired of it. They're tired of the vicious cycle and they want off. And they want to do it safely. And they want somebody who sees and respects both sides. And that I do. And so, yeah, when they come to me, if that's their goal, absolutely. I want to help them get off of any medications if it's a safe thing to do and under their doctor's permission, of course. And as long as their family is aware and everything like that. I don't think it's something you should do on your own, and just, you know, go the safer way about it. Having somebody who knows what they're doing on board, and having your family on board to support you and your medical professional team, you know, don't do it alone.
Yeah. And back to what we were talking about with the people nervous about journaling and really diving into their emotional state. Do you find that as they physically get stronger, they emotionally are stronger to be able to face those fears versus in the beginning where, I mean, I know for myself, when I was feeling weak physically, emotionally, I was weak and I didn't have the strength to face some of that stuff, get rid of the toxic people in my life, face some of the people that I needed to face or the issues that I had. And it wasn't until I physically felt stronger to be able to say, oh, well, that's not a big deal. And then I realized that a lot of these things that I was so fearful of were actually nothing, and they were much smaller than what I had made them out to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, I definitely think that if you feel better physically, you're going to do better mentally. And it's not just about healing your gut. It's also about eating the right foods. It's about getting your butt to the gym, or even just walking, moving your body. Our bodies need to move. Our bodies need to be active. We've got to move that energy around. It's easy to not do that, but we always feel good. We always feel good mentally, and we feel better physically after we do it. So yeah, and when you start feeling better physically, that brings a whole new vibe and confidence about you. And when you're feeling good and you're feeling high vibe and confident about how you look or feel or just the energy that you have, you are much more likely to be open-minded to tackling some of the other things that you want to fix in your life. So yeah, I definitely agree that get to feeling better physically first, and it's going to be much easier for you to tackle what's next on an emotional level.
So let's start off with what diet do you put your clients on, or what do you promote?
Yeah, so I don't put them on any specific diet. I teach that we need to reduce processed foods. I also teach that if someone's having a really hard time with bloating and gut health issues for an extended period of time, it might be a good idea to do an elimination diet and figure out, do you have a gluten intolerance? Is there something that you're allergic to that you didn't realize? Because until you figure that out, you've got no chance of your gut healing. So there, I don't recommend a specific diet, but I do recommend doing certain things for certain people, recommending certain things. And that means, upping the amount of fruits and vegetables that you're eating. There's supplements that I recommend to people that make that very easy, because let's be honest, none of us are getting 13 to 17 servings that they recommend nowadays, because our food is just not as nutritious as it used to be. Mm-hmm. So I recommend a very potent antioxidant filled supplement that helps people kind of get that energy that they need, get the nutrients that they're missing out of their diet to kind of bridge that gap. And so I start there as far as food and nutrition goes. And the more plants that you get into your diet, the more your body is able to heal. Plants will literally heal your gut if you get enough of them. So if your food isn't enough, which typically it's not, then you got to look towards supplements.
So is that, when you talk about plant medicine, is that what you're talking about, those supplements?
Yeah, and generally speaking, I mean, there's many things that I recommend, but I think that with any regimen, I think plants is where you should start, because our body needs that anyways. That's going to help heal the gut, help, get the nutrients back in your body so your immune system can be strong. It's so important for reducing inflammation overall. And that's going to, once you reduce inflammation, you're going to reduce the risk of disease. You're going to improve your mood. You're going to improve your immune system. It's just kind of like when you start with the gut and everything else falls into place, or when you start to get better on a physical level, everything falls into place. Same with adding plants into your diet or supplements. Yeah, the more your body takes in, the better it's going to do on down to the individual cell. Everything's going to fall into place. It's just better for your body and easier for your body to do what it's supposed to do when it's getting the nutrition that it needs.
It's so interesting, because so many people will say to me, well, Sarah, I don't have any stomach issues. I don't have IBS. I don't have diarrhea or constipation, but gosh, I have arthritic pain, or I have brain fog. And they think, well, I don't need to change my diet because I don't have stomach issues. But what they don't realize is that inflammation, whether it's showing up in back pain or in brain fog or Alzheimer's or ADD or elbow pain, you name it, whatever's going on, it's all coming from the same source, and that's inflammation. And you reduce inflammation and your body can work better, and the systems start all working together in a proper way. You heal that leaky gut, which is the source of so many issues. And eat a clean whole food diet, and you're pretty much going to be, hands down, in a better place than you were without implementing those things. And I was laughing because my niece is 19. She's a college kid, and I was ordering lunch for the family, and I said, well, do you want the Chinese chicken salad or the Caesar salad or sandwich? She goes, well, I don't eat salads. Period. She does not eat salads. And I thought, oh my goodness. I mean, we're not just talking about this lunch, but she does not eat lettuce. She does not eat salad. And I thought, and if she were on a carnivore diet or on a ketogenic diet with no salads because she was doing an elimination diet, that'd be one thing. But instead, she's having a Coke and a sandwich. And she, you know, there are issues with mental issues there. And but her stomach feels fine.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're talking mostly right now, we're talking about adults and women in jobs, or you deal with people in their personal and business life as adults. But this is going down to our kids now, and it's starting so much earlier, and so many kids are suffering from anxiety and depression. And I've got a junior high kid and 2 in high school, and I would say, gosh, at least 70% of their friends are on either ADD medication or anxiety. And
heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. And one was having a severe issue last year, and the parents went straight from nothing to putting her on Zoloft without much in between. And my heart broke because the child doesn't know any different. She doesn't understand why she's feeling a certain way. She's not in charge of the food that's put on her plate. And it just is so hard. You know, the only thing I can take from it is what I can teach my kids from it. And they see a difference in themselves when they're eating properly or not eating properly. And now, you know, even my junior high daughter, she'll go to someone's house and they're all eating pizza, and she will come home and say, Mom, I didn't have anything. Can you make me something to eat? Because she knows that she's not going to feel good. Or she'll say, Mom, I just had a couple bites. It didn't taste good. And then the food doesn't start tasting good because they connect the dots of what is healthy for them and what's doing their body some good.
That's right. Your cravings start to change. I tell people this all the time. If you start taking whole food supplements and eating a cleaner diet, your cravings will change. You won't want all the junk as much anymore.
Exactly. I actually see some of the kids that I know are not getting the healthiest diets at home. When they come over, they'll look at my snack food and they'll want the vegetable platter and the cucumbers and the hummus with carrots versus what they're getting at home and the fruit roll-ups and the chips and that sort of thing. They're not coming in, because I have some of that stuff here. Sure. And they don't reach for that. They reach for the healthier stuff, and it's just a pure sign that their bodies are craving it, and they don't know why, but that's what they're wanting. It's truly almost like a scientific experiment. And then you have all the toxic environmental issues that we are being bombarded with. That is very difficult and makes the whole equation of gut health and anxiety that much more complicated, because some of this stuff is out of our control. Do you see that as well? Yes,
I do. And oh gosh, toxins play such a huge role in all of this as well. Like you said, it can get complicated, but I think in order to detox our body, one thing that people can do is to eat more plants. I know I sound like a broken record. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, I understand. Like when you come to me and you complain about your hormone issues and your arthritis and your allergies and asthma and autoimmune issues, and I always say it's your gut, people get so annoyed. They're like, but how can it all be related to that? And I'm like, it is. So I know I sound like a broken record, but yes.
That's what I say as well. And the thing, people should be relieved that that's the answer, right? Because regardless of what your issue is, you have one answer. Right. Fix your gut and your issues are going to go away. Your immune system gets stronger. And as I started out saying in the very beginning, your body does want to and is capable of healing itself. Mm-hmm. It truly is. You just need to give it that physical foundation and heal that leaky gut in order for the immune system to get on the road of doing its own job. Right. When you've got leaky gut, your body is working on trying to repair itself over on the left, and here it's being hit with a virus or bacteria on the right, and then you get sick. Well, if your immune system doesn't have to worry about healing leaky gut, it's ready to fight that virus or bacteria when it comes on. And it's got, and you always hear people don't die from cancer. They die from chemo compromising the immune system, and then they get sick with another issue like pneumonia or that sort of thing, or they just get sick from being in the hospital because they're getting treated for one thing while their immune system is getting hit with something else that is in the hospital. And they say that the number one, I believe, cause of mortality is going to doctor visits and going to the doctor and going to the hospital and getting care. And I've had multiple, this is awful. 2019, I had 2 uncles that passed away. Both had severe issues, but their issue got worse and worse, and it was led to their death was being in the hospital and an issue that happened there. And it's just, if you can stay out of the doctor's office and you do preventative care, you're going to be on a much better road to health. So,
yeah.
Well, before I ask my last question, is there anything that we haven't covered that you wanted to address?
Yeah, just not to overcomplicate this. I know sometimes when you hear these things, and it's like, okay, well, where do I start? Because there's so many things that I could be doing for my gut, and I can't do everything all at once, and I'm overwhelmed, and I'm just not going to do anything, right? So I said, don't overcomplicate it. You can start off with cleaning up your diet a little bit and moving your body. Anything helps. And when you start to do that, you're going to want to do more. Maybe you're going to want to get on a good whole food supplement regimen. And then you're going to feel even better. So make small changes. Don't get overwhelmed in having to fix everything overnight. It took you years to get to where you are now. Don't expect it to all fix overnight. So I think my message would be to have patience. Have patience with yourself. Give yourself some grace and during the healing process. If healing is what you want to do, it's absolutely possible. Get in touch with the right people who can support you, and take it one day at a time. Be patient with it.
And to add to that, if you are on this journey moving forward and then all of a sudden you take a step backwards and you fall into your old bad habits, don't think of that as a negative. I always say, well, great, that is great news, because I know that you are feeling the negative effects of what that experience is, and it's only going to be more motivation to push you forward. And, it's like an alcoholic who has a drink. Well, how did that drink feel? Really take note as to what that experience was and journal about it, or really sit with yourself so that you have more motivation to keep going forward. It's not the end of the world if you take a step back.
Yeah. Don't give up.
No. Well, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Kelly Rompel Coaching. I'm on Facebook, Kelly Rompel, kellyrompel.com. And also, probably my favorite place to show up besides Instagram is on my podcast, Rebel Whitecoat Podcast.
Which is awesome. Well, last question. What top 3 things do you do or focus on to accelerate your body, mind, and spirit on a daily basis?
Oh, what 3 things? Okay, so definitely, I'm a supplement snob. I do not go a single day without supplementing my body with whole food nutrition. I also love to exercise. I'm one of those people where it gives me energy. I don't like to go several days without moving my body just a little bit. And also the third thing I would say is nature, being in nature. I think nature is totally healing. I'm one of those hippy dippy types that I just feel like you can literally hug trees and feel better, get your shoes off, put your feet on the ground. That's a real thing to get grounded and harness the earth's energy. And so get out in nature, really take it all in, soak it in, take a look around and see how amazing life really is. I mean, that's all you got to do is look up at the trees and see the animals, and holy cow, how can you not think life is amazing by just taking a look around at nature?
I could not agree more. I feel so energized when I have my exercise, my supplements, and just being out in the sun. The sun is one thing that I've really come to appreciate lately. So thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us today. And we are going to go to a short commercial break and be right back with my top 5 tips for improving your kids' health.
Thanks, Sarah.
Are you wanting to optimize your physical, mental, and emotional health? Visit www.acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Accelerated Health Products to detox, reset, and rebuild your immune system naturally, and to accelerate your body, mind, and spirit with cutting-edge supplements and solutions. Get Sarah Banta's personal advice on a protocol just right for you. That's www.acceleratedhealthproducts.com.
Welcome back, and here we are going to talk about my top 5 tips for improving your kids' health. My kids now are, 13, 15, and 17, and some of you know that my son has had some health issues. He was diagnosed with leukemia at the age of 9, so that's what really got on us on a kick of healing our health and making sure that we're in a safe place, safe, healthy environment. And as a mom, I really wanted to make sure I was giving my kids the proper environment, but not only just through nutrition, but also mentally and physically and emotionally. So my top tip is start with making a healthy, low-carb dinner. Dinner becomes a time when kids can relax. They can talk in a safe space about their day with you. They're listened to. You really want to make sure that they feel heard. They talk about their challenges at school with friends, whatever's going on. It's a good place to talk about gratitude and their highs and lows of the day. And doing that around a healthy meal will help them connect the dots subconsciously of feeling good and safe with enjoying good, healthy, nutritious foods. So they won't even know that you're doing this. This is on the subconscious level. They will have that safe, good feeling as they're eating that healthy, fatty protein and green vegetable and salad. And they're connecting the dots that, oh gosh, I feel really good when I eat these foods. Number 2, I give my kids 4 to 5 supplements that are no-brainers. Number 1, the accelerated silver. This is what really helps my son overcome his own health issues. And my daughter, who had anemia, allergies, asthma, she used this and she now has no issues. She's an athlete. She is performing in school and life, and she used to be the kid that I could not get off the couch to go ride her bike around the block because she had no energy and she was always sick. So the accelerated silver will help keep them healthy and their immune system strong as they're going to be bombarded by viruses and bacteria at school and in their daily life. It tastes like water, looks like water, and is super easy for kids to take. In fact, I gave them their own little dropper bottles of it when my youngest was even just 4 years old, and she loved taking ownership of her own health by taking her dose every day. So it gives them ownership, and that's the whole idea, is to empower both adults and children in their own health and make you take back control. So ever since my eldest son was 9 years old and diagnosed with the leukemia, my kids have been taking the accelerated silver 3 times a day. And not only is my son in the clear with his diagnosis, but not one of my 3 kids have ever missed a day of school from being sick. And they haven't been on antibiotics. And it's been 8 years of preschool, elementary school, and now junior high and high school. So it's been a great record. We go into the doctor's office for well checks and she doesn't know my name because we haven't been there. So that's a really good sign. The second one is called Restore. And we were talking to Kelly about healing leaky gut. Restore heals leaky gut. It's another one that tastes like dirty water. It's easy to take. Kids can take it themselves. They can't overdose on it. If they drink the whole bottle, it just wastes your money, but it won't hurt them. It protects their stomachs from toxins and foreign substances and will help keep their microbiome healthy. That's where all the sources of anxiety, depression come from. They stem from. So when you protect your gut, you're also protecting their brains and making them feel better. And people see a difference in their mental state as they're restoring their gut health. Because it is not a probiotic per se, but it creates the environment for probiotics and the whole microbiome to proliferate in the proper way. I do recommend for some, if you truly have a compromised immune system, to add in a probiotic maybe 2 to 3 days a week, but it's not something that you need to take on a daily basis when you're taking Restore. Restore, ideally, you take it about 30 minutes before mealtime, 2 to 3 times a day, just a teaspoon, so it's super easy to take. The third supplement would be Acceleradine iodine. Iodine deficiency has been connected to mental retardation and lower IQ, so it's really important to be taking, as our soils and food supply are completely depleted of iodine. Each one of my kids has their own little bottle, and once again, they take ownership of their health by taking their own dose, and I don't do it for them. It has a very strong taste, and it does need to be diluted in water. So you put it a little bit in, you start out with 3 drops 3 times a day on an empty stomach, and you increase to ideally 20 drops per dose, and you put that in like 3 to 6 ounces of water, and that will help with their thyroid health, any issues with Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism. But it's also shown to kick out the fluoride, bromide, and chlorine in the brain and in the body. Your body's cells have iodine receptors all throughout the body. And in fact, you've got 4 times the amount of iodine receptors in your breast tissue for women than you do in your thyroid. So by taking iodine, you are decreasing your risk for breast cancer and any of the female cancers, and then additionally for prostate cancer for men. And then you're also reducing the risk or you're actually healing Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism. Those 2 diseases and a lack of iodine are the number 1 predictor for depression, as we're talking about mental health for both adults and kids. So iodine is a must for adults, for pregnant women. It's very important, and for kids as well. You want to make sure that they have every tool in their toolbox, in their cells, in their bodies, to be able to think clearly and to function with mental and physical energy. Super important. It also kicks out those toxins out of the pineal gland in your brain. And when you talk about having brain fog, usually it's because your pineal gland is calcified with fluoride. So by taking iodine, you're kicking out those toxins out of the pineal gland and clearing it up, and the brain fog lifts. You feel better. You're able to think better. You're more connected to your higher self, essentially. The 4th supplement is Oxalate, which is a multivitamin electrolyte drink that covers the basis for their nutritious needs and yours as well, and it helps you have energy throughout the day. There's no sugar in it and it tastes great. I have it all day long. I have a couple servings a day, more because I enjoy the taste than anything else, but my kids especially with their athletics, and right now in California it's 95 degrees outside. So for hydration, it's super important that you're getting your electrolytes. And so they'll do an extra dose on days like this, so 2 to 3 doses sometimes. But that is super important as well. And the 5th one is something that's brand new to me and our family, and I even am giving it to my dog, and I can see a difference in her energy as well. This is, if you have the bandwidth to add one more supplement for your kids, it would be the new My Vital C, which is ESSC60. And I talked to Chris Burris, the owner of the company, a couple weeks ago. This has been shown to double the lifespan in rats, and also all the rats in the study, the one in the control group, they all had tumors at their death, and those that were on the ESSC60 or My Vital C, not one of the rats had tumors. So it not only does it double your lifespan, but it has anti-tumorous effects. It improves energy, improves sleep, it improves eyesight. So anyone with eyesight issues, kids or adults, if you're starting to need glasses, it can reverse that damage. And it helps with nerve health, rebuilding cartilage. And I've even been putting it on my skin for my wrinkles. And people have noticed that their hair is growing back in thicker and darker. So yes, it seems like an anti-aging supplement, but for kids, it's preserving their childlike health qualities and giving them a head start for the aging process. And it's hopefully it's helping prevent the cancer that was seen in my son as well. So it boosts their immune system. It does have antiviral and antibacterial properties as well. So lastly, second to last, is have your kids start making their own breakfast, lunch, and snack. I hear about so many kids that are throwing away their lunches at school, which is not only wasteful and shows a complete disconnect between the value and appreciation for food and what we are doing to our bodies, but it's also teaching them to create a connection of what they're putting in their bodies and the ownership of doing so. The kids and I will go to the market, we'll choose healthy options that we both agree on and that they're excited to use. We'll also go on to an online market called thrivemarket.com, which has discounted prices and healthy options, whether you're keto or gluten-free or organic. The kids can download or add to the cart anything they want, and obviously I have to prove it before buying it. But that way they're taking ownership once again. You're also teaching them how to cook and have their way around the kitchen. I know far too many adults that are scared to make eggs and don't know how to turn the stove on, and I want to be raising good husbands and wives and self-sufficient individuals that know their way around the kitchen and the barbecue as well. It also empowers them. And I love seeing it when I come home on a weekend day and my son or daughter is in the kitchen cooking sauteed onions and mushrooms with salmon or chicken thighs, all on their own. They are excited to be making their food and to be eating it. And I can feel at ease knowing that they're getting a good, healthy, low-carb, ketogenic meal. And next, teach your kids to really check in with themselves on how they feel mentally and physically when they're eating certain things. They know the difference. When they're eating well and have a good, healthy ketogenic meal, my kids' energy and mood are stable. When they eat pizza and ice cream, they know they're feeling bloated and yucky and low energy. They also know that they become very snappy and irritable, especially now that they're teenagers and hormones are all over the place. But when you teach them to really check in with themselves, it shows them how to connect their mental and physical bodies with the nutrition. And lastly, as Kelly was talking about, have them move. That is one thing that my dad always taught me, was the importance of exercise. That doesn't mean over-exercising, but it does mean moving every day. It's been shown to increase those endorphins and the happy hormones in the body, and it also increases human growth hormone, which is so important as these kids are growing. In our family, we try to move every day, whether it's during a hard sporting practice or even just taking the dog for a walk, but we're all moving. So those are my 5 top tips for improving your kids' health. If you have any that you'd like to share, put them in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today. If I can help you with your health issues, contact me, Sarah Banta, at sarah@acceleratedhealthproducts.com, and I'm happy to put together a protocol for you. I know sometimes it's hard to know where to start. If you didn't get your questions answered today, feel free to email me topics you want to hear me address, and even personal questions about your health and where to start. Again, you can find the supplements I mentioned and many informational videos on my website, acceleratedhealthproducts.com, and use coupon W4HC20, W4HC20 for 20% off site-wide. Thanks again for joining us here on Accelerated Health Radio, and we will see you again next week.
Are you wanting to optimize your physical, mental, and emotional health? Visit www.acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Accelerated Health Products to detox, reset, and rebuild your immune system naturally and to accelerate your body, mind, and spirit with cutting-edge supplements and solutions. Get Sarah Banta's personal advice on a protocol just right for you. That's www.acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Thank you for joining us today on W4HC Radio for Accelerated Health Radio with Sarah Banta. Make sure to tune in every week at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to uncover your highest potential through natural and innovative wellness modalities.